Hey guys, it's Shani and welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm doing makeup mistakes to avoid and I guess makeup do's and don'ts. But when I mean don'ts, I don't actually mean that. Obviously, you can do whatever you want when it comes to makeup because it's your face and at the end of the day, it washes straight off. So it's honestly not a big deal. But this is just kind of tips and tricks that I thought I would share with you guys to help you out a bit. So obviously this is the do side and this is the don't. Obviously it is very over dramatic. I've never actually seen someone with this on their face, but it's kind of just, I'm kind of just going over the top to prove a point. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't take it personally because I've done a lot of these things in my life. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please give it a big thumbs up and let's jump straight into it. Alright guys, so the first thing that I'd recommend doing when you're applying your makeup is put a nice base down. So I'm applying 2 different moisturizers. I go in with that moisturizer just because I do have dry skin. But if you have oily skin, I would still 100% recommend just finding a moisturizer that suits your skin type and putting that on before your foundation because honestly, it makes that foundation blend out so much easier and it doesn't cling to any dry patches. It just looks flawless. So on the don't side, I didn't apply any moisturizer and girl, it didn't blend as easily. That's all I can say. When it comes to primer, you want to make sure that you set it with a powder. If you don't, all the eyeshadows will go patchy on your eyelid and stick to certain areas, and it honestly is incredibly hard to blend out. The next tip that I have is try to avoid putting any shimmery shades in the crease, especially if you have hooded eyes like me, because it really will accentuate the sagginess of the skin. The next tip that I have is try to start from lighter at the top and go to darker at the bottom. So if you want to do like a smoky eye, you can start from like a nice light brown, work your way up to a darker brown, and then eventually you can go to a black. So that's what I'm doing on the do side. I'm starting with a nice soft brown and just getting darker and darker as we go, and this will just create more of a softer gradient. Now it's time for foundation. So this is something a lot of people like to comment on in the comments of my videos. So on the don't side, I'm going to take a foundation that matches the skin color on my face and I'm just going to buff this into my skin. So as you can see, the color on my neck is completely different because I fake tan, and whether or not the tan is real or you've used like a foam or something like that, a lot of the times the tan does fade on your face, so you want to make sure that you match it to your neck, and then it's going to look like our head and our shoulders are actually attached. Okay, so you want to make sure when you're blending your foundation in, you don't want to actually put it where you put your concealer under the eyes, just because it will make the concealer that you put on over the top really cakey. So you just want to leave that bit spare for the concealer to let that do the work. So I'm just taking a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than my skin tone, and a beauty blender is absolutely perfect to blend out concealer. To set that concealer, you want to make sure you set that concealer, because if you don't, it's going to crease really bad just like this, and it's not pretty. It won't last as long either. This one is crucial. So when you apply any sort of face product over your foundation, you want to make sure that you set your foundation. So example, bronzer, blush, highlighter, contour, all of that, you want to make sure the powder's down first and then you can go in with the bronzer and stuff. So right here, I just went straight in with the bronzer. I didn't set my face and the foundation just really grabbed that bronzer, made it super patchy. You also want to apply bronzer in moderation, so just really lightly and then build your way up because obviously there's no going back. And also try not to go under the cheekbone. You want to bring it above to add a nice like natural glow, and that's where the sun would naturally hit, not under, because that will just make it look super muddy and dirty. Time for contour. So you want to make sure that you start very, very light-handed because contour can look muddy in literally 1.2 seconds. You want to also make sure you don't bring it too far towards your mouth, otherwise it will make you kind of look like a skeleton, and you also want to blend upwards instead of downwards. As you can see right here, it still is really defined. It looks really clean and crisp, and if you don't go past that finger, it will look a lot more natural as well. When it comes to baking, there's honestly so many different techniques that you can use that look amazing. For me, I like to take a nice yellow shade and just dust that under my contour to make it super sharp and clean. You want to kind of stay away from stark white shades because it can look super fake and too sharp. For the lower lash line, I like to keep it not dragged down too much like it is right now because it makes the eyes look very raccoon-like and also a lot smaller. So I think this way just makes them appear bigger, but also still evened out with the eyeshadow on the top lid. So for highlighter, I like to take a cream shade and put this under my eyebrow really softly, and then I go in with the fat blending brush after to blend it out so there's no harsh lines at all. And then on the don't side, I just went in with a stark white and I just put shitloads of that on there, and I didn't blend it out, and it just looks super choppy and harsh. It's mascara time! So I always find it really hard to apply mascara with a big fat one like this. I find that it just gets all over my eyelid, all under my under eyes, and it's super hard to get off, and it's annoying. So if you use a small one like this, it's really easy to just coat all of your lashes without it being overly messy. What I think looks amazing is when you grab a pair of lashes that still have a bit of space in between them, especially if you have hooded eyes like me. They can still be super long and all of that, super dramatic. You guys know I love my dramatic lashes. The other ones on the don't side are just massive. They go up to my eyebrows. They're super thick. You can't see any eyeshadow at all. So it's all about just finding the right pair for your eyes. And I also pinch my real lash and the false lash together to make sure there's no gap there at all. A really common mistake that a lot of people make is smiling when you put your blush on. If you smile really hard, in reality, when you stop smiling, your whole cheeks are going to droop down and it's just going to make your face look droopy. So what you can do is just take small by small amount and just put it on the apples of your cheeks and blend it back to make it look super natural, and it's just for a really nice flush of color. Let's be real, when it comes to people applying too much highlighter, most of the time it's usually me. So as you can see right here, it just really accentuates those pores on my face when usually you can't even see them, and just brings out a lot of texture in the skin that you don't really want to be seen. So as you can see on this side, it's just a nice glow. I mean, it's not natural, but it just looks a lot better and it's not as pory. This part was so much fun, I'm not gonna lie. So what I did was I took a really dark shade, I overdrew my brows to the point where they looked unnatural, and at the front of my brow I did like a little box. So what I like to do on the do side is start from the tail of my brow where I have the most product, and when there's not as much product on the brush, I like to go into the front of my brow so it's kind of like a nice gradient effect. Obviously you can overdraw your brows as much as you want, that's totally fine, but I just did it like overboard. For the lipstick, I went in with a really pale nude, so it's all about finding lipsticks that suit your skin tone. So obviously if you want a really pale nude on the lips, you could still go in with this color on the do side, but all you have to do is kind of use it in moderation. So I first applied a lip liner so it's nice and crisp, and then I went in with a darker nude that fits my skin tone, and then I just pat that first nude on the center of my lips to create kind of an ombre lip, and it just looks a lot better. Setting spray is last but not least, so I'm just going to spray my good side of my face, and this will just soak up any excess powder and it will make my makeup stay on longer. So there we have my makeup do's and don'ts. I hope you guys learned something new in this video, or at least found it entertaining because it was so much fun to do. Let's see if we can get this video to 20,000 likes. I believe in you guys, let's do it. Anyways, I hope you have an amazing day and I'll see you in my next video.